coming to you with one Gundacker as we get ready to break down a 4-game main slate, smallest main slate we have had in a long time for Saturday. Usually they don't go below 5, but here we are. I believe probably had something to do with the doubleheader that we had with Houston and Detroit. What do we got going today, Gundacker? Anything exciting out there? I took a nice old guy nap, so I'm just looking at the MLB scores.
Yeah, old guy nap. I think you might have got it before me, man. It's like they pushed the show back an hour. I was like, yeah, I'm cool with that. So yeah, my day is just barely starting, but I've been watching some of the scores here. But last night I crushed it last night, so it was kind of a hangover nap because it was a fun night to be incredibly overweight on Fernando Tatis, and it just kept going and it kept going. So I swept a bunch of small stuff, and then just really had fun at the end. Almost had a little sweat for the 100K, but I fell. I needed Tatis to get on base one more time, and he didn't. And then Machado and Cronenworth behind him, so it kind of got like leapfrog. So it was fun, though. It was fun.
All right, good deal. Well, we've got the 4 shows. We'll probably get on out of here. Lock is at 7:15. We're not going to drag our heels. We'll probably get out of here a little bit after 7, but not to fear. We're going to get all of the information to you. Today, we are sponsored by Jock Market. That's definitely one of the sites that you want to check out there. We talk about these, we say smaller sites, your DraftKings, your FanDuel, and then your everybody else. But it's the smaller sites where you can get your profitability here. So Jock Market has an interesting twist on things. They've turned sports into like a stock exchange. You don't have to wait till the end of the game to make money. You can buy, sell, trade your shares in real time once the game is started. They have pre-game IPOs. They do this for NBA, MLB, NHL, which starts here shortly with the Stanley Cup, and of course PGA. You can make it money any hour, any minute, every second of the match or game. The pre-IPO is a good way to pick up shares of your players and start in early. You can download their app at Google Play or the App Store, or start out on jockmarket.com. That is promo code Osmo as well. Will get you a $50 ad to your initial deposit as long as you put in $50. Let's see what we've got here. Cruising along. Gundacker is available at Twitter at Gundacker. I'm at EMac DFS. It's Osmo_COM. We're jumping in to the first of our games. We have New York at Boston. I think they're obligated to only play these series on the weekends, Gundacker, just so they can get the television eyeballs. I haven't even looked to see what Sunday Night Baseball is. I'm guessing it's this game. But let's talk about today. We've got Jordan Montgomery, who's sort of been up and down. We have Nathan Eovaldi, who has sort of been, wait for it, up and down. Well, technically not up and down, technically straight, just like his fastball. His results have been up and down. Today, I want to point out that Boston, in their last 400, is a good stack because the last 405 right-handed bats that have faced Monty have a 1.52 home run per 9. I'm looking at JD Martinez. I'm looking at Hunter Renfroe. I'm looking at any of the righties. Talk to me here. You're the guy wearing the Yankee beanie. Ugh. What do we got in game 1 of our 4-game main slate?
Yeah, it hurts. Surprisingly, if it's not the Red Sox and Yankees, it's the Dodgers and Cubs, and it looks like it's the Dodgers and Cubs on Sunday night. So
it was a 50-50 guess.
It's always those two, or the Cardinals and Cubs. I feel like Jordan Montgomery really suffers with power to righties. You can make a case that Yankee Stadium isn't helping that, but the Fenway is not going to be much greater. JD Martinez, Hunter Renfroe jumping off the page with 4+ ratings in the bomb detector. So those will be the 2 at bats that I think are the biggest for Monty to get behind. This is one of those slate EMac where every pitcher is uncomfortable. But this Jordan Montgomery might be bottom 3 in comfort levels for me. He has proven me wrong in spots where I thought he should get smacked. I'll never forget the White Sox game, but right now Montgomery is literally my lowest owned pitcher. So I am that trepid when it comes to him doing well against the Red Sox. So like you mentioned, JD Martinez should project really, really well. But so should really every righty. Michael Chavis in that leadoff spot, Xander Bogaerts, Hunter Renfroe and Kike Hernandez, really fun 6-7 against lefties. So this is going to be almost no bats off for Montgomery. And then Yankees suffer some injuries out of the bullpen. Wandy Peralta and Zach Britton both actually to the IL. So this bullpen could be a little bit weaker than expected. So maybe a stronger, deeper round of plus at bats for the Red Sox.
I had not realized. That's always good to keep tabs on the bullpen, just because there's a couple good sites out there that track it, that you can look at it. But it's always interesting to see, especially if you have people like, say, a Hunter Renfroe or a Kike Hernandez, where they are not as much of a pinch hit risk. They both have adequate power against same-handed pitchers, just don't make as good of contact in general. But if let's go look at the Yankees bullpen. So as you mentioned, they're missing a couple of their players. I guess I should scroll all the way down to Y for Yankees instead of N for New York. So yesterday they had 4 people go, including the aforementioned Zach Britton, but they also had Luis Cessa, Jonathan Losiga, and Lucas, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. So the people that we would expect coming in will be Chad Green, a righty, Aroldis Chapman if the game's going to be close. He hasn't pitched since Wednesday, like unlikely that they burn him for an inning. Wandy Peralta has not pitched in a while. We could see
he got put on the IL.
Oh, sorry, he was one of the IL guys. Wow, so they are. So Nestor Cortez went 37 pitches on Thursday. He might go today. They generally don't run him, like every other day would be as soon as they would run him. He generally is a multi-inning guy. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling the audience this. He's generally a multi-inning guy, has a spot start here and there, kind of a swingman, but usually they don't run him a lot, but they're running out of arms here.
Yeah, they called up Albert Abreu and Brooks Kriske from AAA, so it's a pair of righties. So they could be down 3 lefties in terms of guys that make this appearance today, which could hurt Renfroe and Kike Hernandez a little bit because they probably don't face Lucas Licky. We know they don't get Peralta. Nestor Cortez, even if they did face Cortez, he's really, really strong. And then Loaiza yesterday had 4 strikeouts in 1 inning, EMac. It was incredible. But yeah, it could be more righties out of the bullpen today than lefties. So nonetheless, like I'm not going to run from Renfroe and Hernandez because of that, but it is something worth noting that they might only get half the game against a lefty, which is the split we far prefer for those two.
So what are your thoughts on the massive power, the amazing launch angle, and all the other goodness that comes with Bobby Dahlbeck?
I tell you what, I've been watching in my spreadsheet where players are graded on a color code. The transition from red to green has been amazing week to week for Dahlbeck, and it's looking really solid for him. 900 OPS. Like all the righties in the Red Sox are looking super, super good today. So begrudgingly, they are one of my highest owned stacks. The Red Sox are. And it's just one of those I can't lose, right? If the Yankees shut them down, hey, the Yankees shut them down. But if the Yankees lose, I stack the Red Sox. So I'm that guy today.
Absolutely. And I actually had time this morning, so I was digging around on Baseball Savant StatCast. Terry's in the audience. He'll appreciate this. But over the last 2 seasons, which is his entire career, Bobby Dahlbeck has a 16.2-degree launch angle, a 19.1% barrel rate, and a 481 expected slugging. That's pretty darn good. You also get Michael Chavez at $11 there on Yahoo. That is pretty much a steal. And then he's leading off on DK at $3K. And he's first base and second base eligible. He is going to be wildly popular. Free Awesemo premium content for the day. We have the NBA and the MLB player rankings. We also have an NBA show coming after us at 8 o'clock. That will be Aton and I believe Nerd-Ass Greg taking you down the home stretch as we head into Game 3, the Suns, the Clippers, NBA action. It's fantastic. Anything else you want to mention on this one? Where are we standing with Uvalde? Is he, as long as he can survive hit sequencing, he's a marginal play, but you're right. Of our 8 pitchers here, they all come with an asterisk. Some are bigger than others, and others it looks like the pucker factor. You know what I mean? The pucker factor is going to be high. That's Montgomery. How do you feel about Eovaldi?
Yeah, so if you isolate just a couple of metrics, Eovaldi's actually in a spot where he could do well. 3.13 xFIP against righties with a 23% K rate. The average is a little high, but the xFIP kind of suggests maybe goes down. He's suppressed power really, really well. A 53.5% ground ball rate this year to righties, and just a 24.6% hard contact rate. So the line drive is a little bit elevated. That's not what you want. But if you just look at the xFIP, the strikeout rate, and the fact that he's going against all but one righty, this is a plus matchup for Eovaldi. So it's going to take some edge of your seat comfort if you click that name, but that's going to be any pitcher today. It just felt like these two are a little bit harder to love, and I think I'd be way more in line to play Eovaldi than Montgomery in a 1v1. But I actually don't think Eovaldi is a terrible play. Obviously, the Yankees are a death row of power hitters, and they can go off on anyone. But I would not be surprised if Eovaldi is a top 2 scoring pitcher based on the splits before him.
All right, perhaps he will get our magic 15 DKP. Game 2. This is going to be a 4:15 local start there in Los Angeles. You have Alec Mills taking on the Dodgers. Julio Urias is going to be taking the bump here for the Dodgers. Well, I think people are going to be flocking to Urias, and that is, it comes with yet again a caveat here. I want to point out that while he has thrown at least 82 pitches in 13 of his 15 starts, he has not topped 96 yet this season and has only gone over 90 once in his last 6 appearances. From a pitch per dollar perspective, we're paying a premium. He has allowed 13 home runs. He's challenging batters this season. Gundacker, 27.6 strikeout rate, just a 3.6 walk rate, very nice 40.2 ground ball rate, and a 3.68 xFIP. Why is he not going to be overworked? Well, the Dodgers know they're going to have to face the Padres and vice versa, so they're not going to burn this kid's innings up too early. How are you feeling about Urias when we're paying top dollar for him? Arguably the most talented pitcher. I want to hear some sticky stuff. I want to hear that tinfoil hat Gundacker.
I mean, Urias is actually one of the pitchers on the spin rate decline, and it actually looks like the Dodgers staff as a whole is representative of a staff that's been most impacted by the sticky stuff. So it's something to watch from a game theory standpoint. Just looking at ownership projections, it's definitely worth making a decision. We got Urias and Lamet as the top 2 owned guys right now, 43% on Urias. So if you these small slates, you got to ask yourself, where can you get leverage and where can you create leverage? Well, it does seem like being the other way on Urias is a case you can make if you bring in the sticky stuff theories and whatnot. In and of himself, though, it is a earlier game on the West Coast, right? 7 p.m. Eastern. So I don't know, 4 p.m. On the West Coast. So it's going to be a little bit more hitter friendly, mid 80 degrees. There's a lot of pluses for the offenses here. I think a lot of people are going to be on these Dodgers bats. They are, I think right now, the highest implied run total. But maybe the Cubs get a little bit sneaky. They do have a lineup that gets a little bit fun against lefties. We know Patrick Wisdom has been absolutely crazy when it comes to matching lefties. So this is one of those where I'd be glad to walk both sides of the line here with some Cub stacks and some Urias. But I think if I was really trying to create elite leverage, like if I only had 1 to 5 lineups, maybe 10, I might consider fading Urias. And like you said, it's not like we expect him to go deep as it is. So there's already an inherent risk that he's not the optimal pitcher, but there's a couple underlying factors that go against him here. So I don't mind staying on the other side here in limited lineups, but as a 150 lineup guy tonight, I'm probably walking both sides of the fence.
Yeah, and with just 8 total teams in our player pool, that's going to be the way to go, especially since we really can't pinpoint any particular pitcher with any sort of safety. Now, normally you really can't because it's baseball, but there are, the bottom feeders going against decent pitchers. We're not really seeing a lot of that tonight in this situation. And our 2 above average guys, they're not going to pitch more than 80 to 90 pitches total. So that's just, it's a little bit tough. So the one I want to point out here, I'm going to drop this link into chat. So we've we've got into the YouTube chat here. We've got a new tool over here. It's free for everybody. It's the Osmo MLB player props tool. So you guys have seen this before. We've done it for NFL. We've done it for NBA. Now we've got it up here for baseball. So they've got the MLB props for strikeouts as well as for home runs. So this one is pretty helpful and interesting, and it gives you the likelihood of the pitcher getting above or below whatever the line is. Same thing with the hitters for their home run props. So this one for Urias, he has a 6.5 strikeout prop. That's minus 110. And this line may not be, I pulled it earlier today. It may have shifted a little bit. So if you're not seeing exactly that, that's the only reason why. But Osmo has him going a little bit over. So we have him expected with the 67% of likelihood that he will surpass 6.5 strikeouts. That's a 28% expected ROI. I hate going against the boss man, but I'm feeling a little bit different on this one. And here's why. So I like the under. I don't know if I'm ready to place a bet on it, but I like the under, which in turn makes me like Urias a little bit less at his price point. So you see, we can utilize these player props to help us with some DFS decisions. Now, this is already baked into Vegas lines. This is already baked into the Osmo projections. But as we're looking and seeing, do I want to go a little above, a little below? What's my personal comfort? What's my personal risk reward? To me, it doesn't feel great that Urias is going to have a lot of strikeouts. So in each of his last 5 starts, he's had exactly 5. This year's actual lineup for the Chicago Cubs, excluding the pitcher, has a 15% strikeout rate against lefties. That this same starting lineup, the first 8 for the last 3 years for them, so since the beginning of 2019, so 2.5 seasons, they have just an 18% strikeout rate. I would like to see that number from them in the 23 to 25 range. Now, Urias is in that range himself against righties, but for me, this is a spot where I'm not feeling great about the over. I don't know that, again, I'm ready to go in on the under, but I'm not excited about paying top dollar for him on any of the sites here. Do you utilize, I know you like to, underneath the hood of the Magic Gundacker tool there, the Google Sheets, do you have a strikeout predictor?
Yeah.
What does Urias say? Because it all depends on how many batters he's going to face. And if we've already said we're worried about the pitch count being anything more than 90, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, I do have I call it the K Factory. It's a algorithm I wrote that is based on per 10 pitches. So if we give him 90 pitches, I have him at 7.27. But I do believe there's enough in the tinfoil hat right now with the grip and the weather in this game that I could see it going under. But that's probably one of those where I throw my hands in the air. But I am over right now at 7.27 at 90 pitches.
Yeah, and that's about. We see Terry's chiming in. He has Urias between 6.5 and 7.2. We had talked about this one this morning as well on the show that Terry and I did. And this is just one of those where it's like, not actionable information for me to make a wager, but it's going to influence me for the DFS world. And that's something, again, utilized, the Vegas think tanks, the data scientists are all over the board. They're, churning their numbers out. So, am I going to be smarter than them? Probably not. But do they know my risk reward proposition? No, they don't. So I've got to figure that one out for myself. Anything else you would like to cover from this game? Maybe a little more on the hitters. And I think if you're afraid of any of the hitters from the Cubs, who would that be?
Patrick Wisdom, because he's the right-handed shorter apparently, and then I like it's Wilson Contreras leading off at 2,700 on a FanDuel. That's such a valuable spot to get out of a catcher, and FanDuel we tend to see the player base not go to catchers quite a bit, and especially against one of the highest owned pitchers on the slate. So he could be a really, really fun leverage play. Even if you don't bank on the Cubs to go off here, there's a world where Urias just gets 10 to 14, and that's kind of an overpriced 10 to 14. And then like 1 or 2 guys from the Cubs get there, and you get maximum at bats from a leadoff catcher at a really, really cheap 2,700 on FanDuel. So I kind of don't mind that.
All right. I see Bean Dude calling for a Rizzo dong. I have to point out, while he normally has a nice track record in lefty-lefty matchups, he has fallen dramatically. This season, In lefty, he has sorry, this is the abbreviated season and this season. 124 lefty plate appearances. He has a 100 ISO, slightly below that actually. And if we look at the last 3 seasons, I want to say it's 140. Yeah, 275 at bats, a 140 ISO. This is a dramatic difference because historically he's been between, depending on what trailing sample size you're looking at, he's usually at between 185 and just almost 200. And we're not seeing that at this point. So that's one where usually we like to point that out. I saw that this morning, so thank you for bringing that up. I just want to throw a little caution out there. We may have filed him away as one of those special lefty guys. Not so sure right now. If we look at the Dodgers going against Mr. Mills here, some of his offerings can tend to be a little bit meek, or so I've heard. What do you got for some power? I was going to see if you got that one.
I didn't expect that one from you. Maybe I'm ageist or something, but that's one I was not expecting.
What do you have here for the Dodgers? The boys in blue. What do we got?
Yeah, so I mean, they're projected to score the most on the slate. It's a rare opportunity for them to play with a little sunshine here. And Alec Mills is a pure contact pitcher that really struggles against lefties. So this would have been a great spot for Cody Bellinger, but he didn't crack the lineup. Max Muncy got deep late. So him and Gavin Lux kind of rise to the top of 2 of my favorite bats to target. Against righties, Alec Mills still projects as a contact guy, 19% K rate, a 7% swing and strike rate, on 1.5 overall whip. So it's still plus spot for the Dodgers, but against righties, the ground ball rate is very, very high, 60%. And he doesn't give up as much power. So I would have liked to seen a much more lefty heavy Dodgers lineup. But we get what we get and we don't talk back. So I'm there on the lefties here. I'd be watching the ownerships on the Dodgers. It looks like right now the overall stack is the highest on the slate, which is not by much. Like Red Sox and Padres are right behind. But I guess you can make a case that Alec Mills' ground ball rate against righties could play spoiler here. So again, if I was looking for some leverage in minimal lineups, that might be one of the ranges of outcomes I play, is that Mills just ground balls his way into suppressing the Dodgers enough. And they haven't been putting up a ton of runs, to say the least, the last couple of games, right? No hitter two games ago. Yesterday, they didn't score their last 2 runs until the 8th. I think it was on a Pollock bomb, and it was just 2 runs throughout the game. And we're talking Jake Arrieta, right? We're talking really, really average to below average pitcher. So Dodgers bats aren't quite popping, but maybe a little sunshine will help them out here. So I could push back. I will not play Alec Mills, but I could see the ground ball rate kind of spoiling 20% of the field with this righty heavy lineup.
All right. Anything else from game number 2?
No, just expect a lot of ownership on Urias and probably these Dodgers bats, and a 4-game slate, even if it mathematically doesn't make sense to you in terms of metrics on the matchup, play a little mathematics for DFS and ranges the outcomes and create some leverage in minimal lineups. I think if I was running a single entry, I probably would fade Dodgers and Urias completely and just let that be my way to get different.
All right. Hey, if you guys are not able to watch your favorite Awesemo shows on YouTube, almost all of our shows are put through the Awesemo Podcast Network, with the exception of Live Before Lock, for which there's really no shelf life. But even better, here's a way to get 30 free days of Awesemo premium content if you submit a rating of the 5-star variety, along with a review with your Awesemo username or your social media handle. We'll put you in a drawing for 52 weeks for 1 month of Awesemo premium content. That's right. You get 52 chances to win 1 month of Awesemo premium content, a full month. All you got to do, leave a 5-star review. We're on all of the different sites: Podbean, Spreaker, Google Play, whatever they're calling Apple iTunes Store these days. We're there. Definitely check it out. Enjoy, have fun, leave those 5-star reviews. And by the way, there's still less than 100 people that have left 5-star reviews. So you're going against not that many people, and you get 52 chances to do it. This is the best way to get Osmo free content. It's a lot easier to do this than it is for the Twitter promotions. Game number 3, as we head into our 2 10 o'clock games, we have Oakland at San Francisco. Pitchers are Frankie Montas and Alex Wood. Wood is in a slump. Last 6 games, 36 innings pitched, not too bad, but a 6 ERA, 1.5 whip, strikeout per inning. The prop of the game here on this one, well, it's an 8 over under. Osmo has it at 8.7. I like this one. We're seeing a couple of pitchers that have sort of lost their way. There obviously is the no DH in this one. And even though, who just went on the deal? Was it Chapman? No, Conha went on the deal for the Athletics, and Brandon Belt went on the DL for the Giants. I'm still liking the over 8 on this one. You're asking me, EMac, how does Osmo have an 8.7? Well, if you go to the Awesemo lineup page, you can see those projected team totals and the game totals. Those are actually from Alex's model. That's not the Vegas number. Little secret there, but you guys can check that out. When I pulled that information earlier, we were at 8.7. So I want to put that out there. We have 8 pitchers in our player pool, Gundacker. Where do these 2 rate?
Right now, I have both Montes and Wood, but it's really just like I say, every pitcher's a range of outcome thing in terms of environment, weather, and offensive production from the opposing team. These guys have a lot going for them. The Sierras and whatnot, like they're not clean in terms of their metrics. A 3.38 Sierra on Wood right now, 3.89 for Montes. But it's just one of those ugly slates where if I can muscle that 15 to 18 from either of my SPs on DraftKings today, that might be enough to get me to the dance. So I do have them both. It's not necessarily parlayed with a high level of confidence. I do think we get a weaker lineup from both teams. We got Ramon Laureano leading off for the Athletics. He's got a 294 average since the beginning of last year against lefties. And then after that, it's really just Jed Lowry and a lot of 240s and below. So there's a world where Wood can survive and thrive long enough, and vice versa with Montes. It's a Giants lineup that is still without Longo, Buster Posey out of the lineup today. Kirk Casale, I think, went Yabo last night, but I would say this Giants lineup hits for a much better average and probably a lower overall strikeout propensity. But it's still a world where Montes can get by. So I do have both pitchers here, and it's also directly correlated with the fact that these 2 teams are probably some of my lower owned stacks. I think these are my 2 bottom owned stacks. So it just really makes more sense for my lineups to be over on the pitchers and under on the stacks. Montes is coming with a 22% ownership and Wood at 40%. So I guess if I mention Urias has risk at 43%, I guess Alex Wood is somebody I would be cautious with as well. But I think the park might bail him out here. And if he puts up a similar number as Urias, he comes at a much better price. So $1,000 discount. So I do have both pitchers, but it's park and weather adjusted.
Yep. So this will be a 7:15 start there. It is going to be just under 60 degrees game time temperature. Some people were asking me, hey, how's the bullpen on this one? Each team used, I think, 2 relievers yesterday. So they're, and I want to say they had travel days on Thursday. I just closed out of that tab. So they're relatively fresh. I'm still good with that over. I'm not expecting gigantic crooked numbers, but I think we can get over 8 in this one, even with all of the little wrinkles that we have put out there. That one I do feel confident in. Let's see. If you were looking for a home run from this game, for me, it would be Laureano. I like him against lefties. He's underrated. However, leading off, he should see 5 at bats. They're not all going to be against Alex Wood, but he would be my one choice here for a home run. Who stands out to you for either side?
Let's see. Wood so far has had some crazy reverse splits this season, so maybe Matt Olson keeps on top of that. But on the Montes side of things, he's given up a lot of power to righties so far, 187 home run per 9. I would say his underlying metrics like hard contact, fly ball, like it's not. I don't think that's going to sustain a near 2 home run per 9. But maybe like a Yastrzemski or an Alex Dickerson rise to the top if I had to guess from the Giants, but I don't have any strong ratings. The highest bomb detector rating in this game for me is, believe it or not, Wilmer Flores, which we usually only
even
like
righty.
Yeah, exactly. So and I think that's more of what Montes has allowed against righties so far.
All right. You said 187 there. I was going to have a nice joke about they're murdering the ball. Come on. Come on. It was too low hanging fruit. Low hanging fruit. Let's see here. Hey, let's do the old Awesemo Hall of Fame here, Tyler. Cue up that bad boy. We have some fun here with that. That's our little shout out to all you guys. So all you got to do if you want to be in the Awesemo Hall of Fame, just tweet at Awesemo_COM and Awesemo HOF. Show us some screenshots with you, the Awesemo avatar, and a little bit of green. It doesn't have to be a gigantic, life-changing win. We want to celebrate everything here because, hey, that's what is fun is for. So the one thing I want to point out is if you guys finish top 3 in a contest with at least 5,000 entries. Can't be ties. Got to be a legit top 3. So all the ties with the showdown slates, that's not going to work. We'd go broke giving away 30 free days of Osmo premium content. That's right. You follow the little instructions there at osmo.com/avatar. Download that avatar, follow the instructions, and you too have a chance to win 30 days of Osmo premium content. So here we've got a tweet here. Shout out from Matt. He says, let's see. Shout out to Osmo for giving me the tools to be successful. $500 there for Mr. D. Go Blue. We have another one here from Tommy Nation 1 taking down $10,000. That would be Jake Hari. That would be hockey. That would be the guy doing most of the heavy lifting for the projections in concert with Alex Baker and the Osmo data team. But Jake Hari is the one who lovingly crafts that for everybody. So he is a nice little showing there. We've got one. Eric Lindquist. That name sounds familiar. I've seen a Puppet Lindy, but we've got Eric Lindquist here who has knocked one out of the park once again. He has a nice little showing there, a little bit of green. And then our final one that we have, another team Osmo, shout out to Rinpack, Josh Engelman, and Alafi D. This is the Pat Bev fan account. Another little showing there. Couple Osmo avatars on that one. Definitely check that out. Pat Beverly, that's basketball. Basketball coming up at 8:00, live before lock. That will be Aton and Greg Ehrenberg taking you down to first tip. Final game of our 4-game slate. A lot to talk about in this one. We've got some props. We've got some pitching. We have some, well, not great pitching and decent pitching. And then we've got some power hitters here. So Fernando Tatis Jr., 3 home runs yesterday, jumped into a tie with Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who said, "Not so fast, my friend." Vladdy Jr. got one earlier today. We'll have to see if Tatis can keep pace. This one is going to be wildly popular for the pod squad here. So Merrill Kelly's going to be someone we want to target against. Remember, he had a long and winding road to get to the majors. This is his 3rd season. He's 32. Tonight is going to be his 53rd start. My notes say there's not many tricks left up his sleeve. While he did survive 2 starts back in April against the Padres, going 10 innings with just 4 earned runs, he was incredibly lucky then with 15 fly ball outs, and he had 1.4 base runners per inning. So I really like the righties going against him for power. That is going to be our odds. Let's see. Our odds plays here are Tatis is plus 280 for a home run. Everybody's going to ask that one. But I like Tommy Pham and Will Myers, and we just got that lineup. Did they? Tommy Pham leading off and Will Myers not in the lineup. So that's going to be a Tommy Pham leading off. I will be putting down a couple shekels there on a home run for Tommy Pham. He does have reasonable righty power. He's pulled out of the tailspin. That was basically his first 6 weeks of the season. Start off with the hitters, the pod squad first. We're gonna stretch this one out at least till 7, so we have a show that goes 45 minutes at least. We're not used to doing it. We've done 14-game shows together. This is a 4-game show.
Nah, I could stretch baseball out forever. Yeah, Fernando Tatis was locked in last night. A lot of fun to watch. The Padres crowd on it. Surprisingly, the D-backs were the final score didn't show it, but D-backs were getting hits and scrapping for a bit yesterday. A really lackluster night for a high-owned Chris Paddock. But running it back here on the hitters, I think Tatis definitely is going to be someone that I'm heavily Leaning on tonight, perhaps a little bit of I don't want to say point chasing, but there might be an extra overreaction based on last night. Tatis is currently number 2 in the bomb detector behind Patrick Wisdom, and if you maybe give him the credence to sample size, he should be number 1. But Wisdom, Tatis, JD Martinez are my top 3 here. So right now I'm banking on Tatis to be probably my highest owned player, and a lot of that is the fact that the position scarcity also sticks out pretty strongly. So gotta like the bats here, and past the power, the Padres are still the most aggressive base running team out there, and this is just a team that I like to play in good spots where you can project power. And for most of these righties, you can project really decent power against Merrill Kelly. He has struggled with power to righties for the last 3 seasons, over 1.6 home run per 9. This year has been knocking on the door of a 2 home run per 9. Has limited power a little bit more towards lefties, but the hard contact still elevated and the line drive rate is still elevated. So really plus at bats through the starter, and then they get into the D-backs bullpen, which is one of the worst bullpens in baseball. So it is just a great spot for 9 innings for the Padres here. Couple of differences in this lineup. Profar, Webster Rivas in the lineup, no Will Myers, guys like that. So maybe some of the more household names like those guys in the bottom of the lineup aren't what you expected, and maybe you can just step backwards on those 2. But the usual suspects here: Pham, Tatis, Cronenworth, Machado, probably my favorite 4, and then I don't mind throwing in Hosmer and Grisham. But I like the top 4 because they give me that beautiful mixture of power and speed, and that's just really fun to stack in DFS. Like, you never feel out of it.
Yeah, and that's the one nice thing about having some powerful West Coast offenses at this point. Something we don't always get to see. Usually we're taking mediocre offenses against bad pitching, but with the Padres and the Dodgers, we have top shelf on both accounts there. T. McBee, Terry McBride says, let me know if you need to jump in. I'm in the bullpen. I can give you 5 solid minutes on short rest. There we go. Always a team player. Always a team player. So let's talk a moment here about Dinelson Lamet. So you're going to see him at 7,400 on FanDuel, 7,300 on DraftKings, 41 on Yahoo. This is not a steal of a price. It's an appropriate price. Some might even say it's a little bit higher on Yahoo. However, there are some $7, $8, and $9 hitters that'll help us work things out over there. So this is not an egregious price by any stretch. There's about a 2.8 implied run total right now. It keeps ticking a little bit, but it's still going to be under 3 going against Lamet. Here's my concern with Lamet. He, in his last start, threw 81 pitches. That's a season high. As I mentioned with Urias, there's no reason for the Padres, in turn, to push any of their starters because they know that they're going to be squaring off to get into the World Series between these guys, if not in a quirk relatively early in the playoffs or down the stretch. So we're not going to see them push Lamet at all. I think it's 60-40, maybe 70-30 that he completes the 5th inning. Right. So I think he will get the 5th inning, but he's not going to go any farther than that. And that's mostly because he's going against the Diamondbacks. I could see 80, 85 pitches, but low 70s wouldn't shock me at all, especially if the Padres are up big. They don't care about getting him the win. It's all about having these guys ready for the end of the season. The Diamondbacks, yikes. 1 win in their last 21 games, 3 in their last 37. No bueno, I believe is the technical term for that one. Talk to us about Lamet, and is there anybody that gives you even a remote warm and fuzzy? Maybe your heart skips a partial beat for any of these Diamondback hitters.
Yeah, so
David Peralta used to be my guy. Not so much anymore.
Last night, the Padres were down at least 3 runs. Yeah, and Peralta had 2 on, no outs. He's the cleanup hitter, and they called a bunt. Like he showed bunt on the second pitch, and my mind exploded. Of course, he didn't bunt, and then ended up making an out, but he represented the tying run, and they called the cleanup hitter to bunt, and I never felt so old and get off my lawn in my life. But yeah, Lamet, I mean, just
there's plenty of room on the porch up here for you guys.
I'm shaking my fist. especially for a team with that losing stretch. Lamet's strikeouts against lefties are really, really nice. Last 3 years over 30%, and that's topical because the D-backs are going to be all lefties except Christian Walker, who already strikes out a lot, and the pitcher. So if you believe in reverse splits, this is a plus spot for him. I did a refresh on our projections in terms of ownership. Lamet is easily the highest owned projected pitcher, 55.6%. So if tournaments become a game of theory and leverage, you definitely can push back, like you said, his pitch count, what have you. If I had to play devil's advocate, I would say that last night the Padres did go to 2, 3, 4, 6 arms. However, they were off the day before, so it's not like these guys can't pitch 2 days in a row. But at 7,300, I have a low net of what I require. So if I get to the 15 to 18 range of outcomes against a team like the D-backs, playing to Lamet's strengths, his strikeouts against lefties, that's fine. I hate to be a chalk donkey, but it just seems like a low risk, decent reward spot, right? If I'm going to play the chalk guy, maybe the 7,300 guy against the D-backs is the better spot than like Urias that's knocking on the door of 10K versus a little bit more of a menacing lineup. So I'm there on Lamet begrudgingly, but definitely a spot where you can meditate on potential implied leverage based on his ownership. And then, so I'm going to play Lamet. Merrill Kelly, I don't think I'm getting there on him, but if you take out Tatis,
it's kind of hard. But there is a 2-game slate where we only have 4 pitchers.
If you take
no slates Tatis off here, Gundacker. No slates off.
287 average allowed to righties, almost a 2 home run per 9, but knocking on the door of a 24% K rate with a 3.6 xFIP. So there's a chance, right? His expected ERA is about half a run lower than his real ERA. Maybe there's a world where Petco plays a little bit more pitcher friendly and they just don't pitch to Tatis. I don't know. Like I said, if you take out Tatis's homers yesterday, they only score 5 runs, right? So, but right now I don't even have Kelly in my pool.
That is, I think that is a reasonable take for sure. Where we have the 8 pitchers, where we have just the 4. I don't know. You just think of it like he's sort of a reliever, and you hope he doesn't go negative. That's really all I can say. That's the boy. What a ringing endorsement on that one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Chat, go ahead and throw in a few questions. If you got them, we'll stay on here for a couple minutes. Lock is at 7:15 tonight. 8 o'clock, we do have the NBA Live Before Lock. And then tomorrow we are doing this all over once again. At 10 o'clock, you're going to get the NBA strategy show. That will be with Josh and Rinpack. At 11, you're going to get the MLB Deeper Dive. Huge Sunday slate tomorrow. There's only 2 4 o'clock games and the 1 7 o'clock late game. So it's going to be just jam packed. You're going to want to be there. It is going to be an hour that we blaze through here. Well, not quite that blaze, because I am old, but some people might. And then we do have NBA Live Before Lock tomorrow. It's an 8:30 game with Atlanta and Milwaukee. That will be at 7:30. That will be with Eitan and Eric. And thank you to chat pointing out, I just woke up from a nap before jumping on air here. So it's game 4 tonight in Los Angeles. And I do have a couple more free pieces of content for you. I mentioned that we have the NBA and MLB player rankings. Those are free. We also have several articles in front of the paywall. You can get my spotlight hitters and stacks article and pitchers. You can get Terry's leverage article. And then for those of you looking for a little NBA, there is the deeper dive. And then I write the DFS building blocks. It's the 1-game slate. Those could be a lot of our overlap in those 2 articles there, even though we write them completely independently and about 8 hours apart from each other. There's not much left when we've seen these teams go again and again and again against each other. But it is worth noting some of the deep rotation changes or anything that has maneuvered around there. So definitely check out all that free content. And that's the free content. Just think how good the pay content is. So you can utilize the promo code MLB Live Before Lock to get 25% off any 1-week package. Well, actually, there is only one 1-week package. It's the all access package. Get 25% off with the promo code MLB Live Before Lock, all one word. Is this a 4-4 slate? For me, it's going to be a 4-4, a 4-3, a 3-3, a 5-0, and a 4-0. I don't know that I'll go 4-2. I won't go 5-3. Pardon me, won't go 5-2. I don't know that I'll go 5-3. I've talked to you about this multiple times, and you have excellent points about not forcing in that second stack when the player pools are small. Give a couple minutes on that strategy. I think that's a valuable thing for people to think about because we don't usually get a main slate that's only 4 games.
Yeah, I don't know. I usually don't put a ton of credence. If I'm extra lazy and I just do 5, do a full 5 on DraftKings and let my projections fill in the rest. But I think every slate is different, right? I guess if you're gonna invest in a full 4 or 5, ask yourself, are those 4 or 5 got a shot at home run points? If the answer is yes, then yeah, go for it. But I don't necessarily. I don't really crack down the number. The 4. I don't lose sleep over 4-3s, 4-2s, stuff like that. I'll rate certain guys higher, and I'll know what teams I specifically want. And usually, after I hand carve my player pool, I probably get more of that without trying. But it's not something I force to happen. Like I usually don't have to force the Kirk Casale into my lineup just to have it.
Yeah, absolutely. Dope Heathen asks, can you go 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, 1? Yes. Why, yes, you can. That used to be how we did DFS. Oh, by the way, it's my 10-year deposiversary this weekend. 10 years ago, this Saturday, I deposited on FanDuel for the first time and started dabbling in DFS.
Well, happy deposiversary. This mason jar of blueberry smoothies for you.
Dope Heathen says I was just being an ass. Yes, you were, but we're having fun. Come on, it's a Saturday. There's only 4 games to talk about, and we still have 12 minutes before lock here. Reminder, Jock Market. Definitely check them out. You can get a $50 deposit match with them if you utilize Osmo as your promo code with the first deposit. They have a little twist on DFS. They've turned the fantasy sports into a stock exchange. You can make money before, during, and up till the final seconds tick off that clock. You can play with NBA, MLB, NHL, PGA. You can make real money every hour, every minute, every second of the game. Just like I said, you can get in on that IPO, buy, sell, or hold based upon your analysis, as well as the ups and downs that occur with what is going on the field, court, or ice. Definitely a new wrinkle and a different way to look at fantasy sports. We also have projections for them. Those are behind the paywall. And the other thing is, on these new sites with different formats, the big fish generally aren't there. Those would be the sharks. Why? Because the prize pools aren't enough for them to put in the time. That means us, savvy gamers, get a little bit of an edge, that ever elusive edge that has become harder and harder to find over the last decade of DFS gaming. Final thoughts. Let's give your home run. So my somewhat obscure, though with confidence, home run is Tommy Pham. What does the bomb detector say? This is from the gut. So what does the bomb detector say?
So what I look for in the bomb detector is ratings above the number 4. And the guys that in order achieve that mark is Patrick Wisdom 1, Fernando Tatis, JD Martinez, Hunter Renfroe, Machado, Aaron Judge, Chris Bryant, and Wilmer Flores gets in there, and just missing it is Bobby Dalbec. So those are the guys to look for power.
So you're saying that Boston stack is well represented in your bomb detector?
Unfortunately.
Had to say that. Who's wearing the cap? Not me. It is you with the New York club there. So one last thing. It feels like New York's literally on every slate, and I'm either doing the shows with you, Max, or Terry. All of you usually wearing a Yankees cap. So let's see here. Not seeing too many questions here. Who's the best pitcher of the night? Close your eyes and point. Now, I would say Dinelson Lamet. He's going to be wildly popular, but he's the best point per dollar guy. Would say Urias is the scariest point per dollar guy. Maybe you go with Uvalde. Of course, he's got to go against the Bronx Bombers there. That's not going to be easy. Alex Wood, bit of a slump. 6 ERA in his last 6 starts. Montas, we've talked about giving up the power to righties. Who am I leaving out? Oh, Merrill Kelly, and that's intentional. I feel like I missed one of the pitchers. Oh, Alec Mills. Yeah, I didn't really miss him.
I hate to pick on my own team, but I think Eovaldi could have the highest ceiling today. Not a great floor, but I think he could have the highest ceiling in a near all-righty matchup with his splits.
All right. Well, we are going to get on out of here. We got 5 minutes until lock. It'll give us time to get our lineups in. We appreciate you guys. Again, 8 o'clock, 1 hour, 55 minutes from now, you'll get the NBA Live Before Lock. Tomorrow at 10 o'clock, you're going to get the NBA DFS Strategy Show. That's going to be Josh and Rimpack. And then at 11, you're going to get MLB Live Before Lock. That will be myself and Max. So with that, gamers, we want to say thank you to Jock Market for sponsoring the show. Thank you, Gundacker, for joining me again on a Saturday. You can follow him over on Twitter at Gundacker. I am at EMac DFS, and it is Awesemo _COM. With that, gamers, hit the like button, please. Shout out to Tyler, producer of the year, with his 1 year anniversary. With that, gamers, good luck.